The Dark Knight mod for Baldur's Gate 3 isn't about Batman, it's about Final Fantasy, and it's such a tanking but high damage, sort of self-healing, self-sufficient if you choose it to be, mod that can just run the front line. So we are going to go over it. There are two subclasses. We are going to start with the first one, which is the Stalwart Soul. So let's jump in level by level, combat tutorial and all the items you could need. So of course we start with the Dark Knight mod. This gives you Dark Side. So embrace your Dark Side and gain a +2 to hit and a +2 to damage with weapon attacks and Dark Knight abilities. Costs 1 Black Blood at the start of each turn. Now Black Blood, if we check that out quick, this is the inner darkness that flows within you and may be used with your Dark Knight abilities. Think of this kind of like sorcerer points. You gain 5 maximum Black Blood. We gain Low Blow, so as a bonus action, we can bash an enemy with an underhand strike, possibly dazing and knocking them off balance. And then Dark Presence. Others find your presence menacing, you gain a +2 to intimidation rolls. Now when it comes to ability points, if you're doing this from the start of the game, I would take 16 strength, 12 dexterity, 14 constitution, 16 intelligence, 10 wisdom and 8 charisma. However, if you are using the items we are using, then I would respec and I would have this. 8 strength, because we're using the gauntlets of Hill Giant strength. 16 dexterity, 15 constitution, and if you choose to for roleplay purposes, you want to use the hag's hair to put this up to 16, you can. If not, it will just be an odd number. 16 intelligence, 10 wisdom, and 10 charisma. If you wanted to, you could do 14 constitution and 10 strength, but it doesn't really make a difference. 3 proficiencies, take whatever fills your roleplay. And we move to level 2, which gives us Edge of Darkness. Deals additional necrotic damage. Now this is a 1d8, you will see we get a 1d4 already. That's because we're using the Sword of Chaos, which has a 1d4 innately. Dark Knight level 3 is where we get our specialization, and like I said, we are starting with the Stalwart Soul. So the first ability is Blood Price. Taking damage fuels your inner darkness, you regain 1 Black Blood on being hit, and have 50% chance to regain 1 on being hit. So essentially every time you get hit, you can regain 2. And what's really cool about this is that you can use this to self-sufficiently keep on top of your Black Blood, meaning you can spend more per combat. And Shadow Skin. Your skin has become hardened by your inner darkness, granting you damage reduction equal to your intelligence modifier. Dark Knight level 4 brings your first feat, as was Shadow Stride. Teleport to a location within 30 feet. Essentially this is Misty Step. Bonus action, and it's awesome. Now for your feat, we are going to take the ability improvement, and we're going to bump our intelligence up to 18 to help with that damage reduction. If you are doing this from the start of the game, you're probably going to want to take your strength from 16 to 18. If you're respeccing intelligence, 16 to 18. Dark Knight level 5 brings extra attack, so if we make an attack with our main action, we can follow up with another. And we gain Edge of Darkness, which is now a 2d8 necrotic damage. And then we get a Dark Knight Swordsmanship. Now there are 2 really good ones. The first one I would personally take is Siphon Strike. So you steal an enemy's magical essence with a strike, replenishing some Black Blood. Again, self-sufficient. There's also Soul Eater, which means you can use this to heal, which would be a 1d4 plus your intelligence modifier. There's Power Slash, which means you can potentially taunt enemies to only attack you. This is like a traditional like taunt-esque, like being a tank and taunting enemies to only attack you. And Hard Slash, a slash that opens your target up to further damage. So for this I would take Siphon Strike as the first one. Dark Knight level 6 brings Reprisal. Spend 1 Black Blood to counterattack melee attackers and reduce their outgoing damage dealt by your intelligence modifier until the end of their turn. Really good on big enemies, things like barbarians, that sort of thing. We also have Abyssal Drain. Rend the flesh of units within an area, healing for each that does not succeed its saving throw, and this is an 8d6 of necrotic damage. Dark Knight level 7 brings Enhanced Black Blood. Your mastery of your inner darkness grants 5 additional maximum Black Bloods, which means we now have 10 charges. We gain Superior Dark Vision, so we can see in the dark up to 24 meters. We have Rending Shadows, so your darkness surges with entropic energy, and you ignore necrotic resistance with your damage, which is incredible. And the Stalwart Dark Side. Embrace your Stalwart Soul, gain a +2 to hit and a +2 to damage with weapon attacks, and Dark Knight abilities and healing 1d4 at the start of your turns. And this costs 1 Black Blood at the start of each turn as a bonus action. Dark Knight level 8 brings another extra attack as well as a new feat, and the Edge of Darkness you will now see is a 3d8 of necrotic damage. Now for your next swordsmanship we are going to take the Hard Slash, a slash that opens your target up to further damage. And then for your feat, if you are playing from the start, strength from 18 to 20, we're going to take intelligence from 18 to 20. Dark Knight level 9 brings the Blackest Night. Shield a target with a barrier of crystallized memory, granting them 15 temporary hit points. So as you can see, you can do a lot with your bonus actions, while still having so many attacks with your main action. Dark Knight level 10 brings Blood Spiller. So strike your foe with a devastating attack, dealing thrice your weapon damage on hit. And as you can see, it's a crazy amount. Dark Knight level 11 brings a new feat. So for this one, we are going to take Savage Attacker. Now there's multiple options. You could take Alert to gain a +5 to initiative. You could take Great Weapon Master for the -5 penalty for a solid 10 damage. I think when making melee weapon attacks, you roll your damage dice twice and use the highest result. I think this is better just because the amount of dice we are rolling with this mod. I think this just about caps it. And then finally, Dark Knight level 12, Dark Mind. Your connection to Inner Darkness makes you particularly resistant to magical effects, granting you advantage on saving throws against magical effects, helping us tank even more. And Dark Force. Bathe you and your allies in dark magic that disrupts incoming harm, reducing the damage affected allies receive from all sources by half for 3 turns. Again, helping you tank up your allies. Now for a helmet, I do like using Sevarok's Horned Helmet. Now we don't really need the Death Bright Sight because Dark Vision doesn't really matter, but reduces the critical number by 1 to 19, Constitution saving throws +1, and we cannot be frightened or afflicted with emotion altering conditions. For a cloak, I really like the Flesh Melter Cloak. I think it ties in thematically, so whenever we take melee damage, the attacker will take 1 to 4 acid damage. For boots, the Blackguard Greaves to give us Long Strider and Athletics +1. The Helldusk Armour, this is the tankiest armour in the game in my opinion. When you succeed a saving throw against the caster, they receive Burning for 3 turns. We're resistance to fire damage and can't be burned, and we take 3 less damage from all sources, as well as getting fly. For gloves, I like the Gauntlets of Hill Giant Strength, like I said, sets the strength to 23. The Ring of Regeneration to help us heal up 1 to 4 hit points, because we will be taking damage in the front lines. The Burnish Ring gives us use of Paralysing Ray. If you wanted to, you could also swap this out and take the Caustic Band for 2 acid damage. And the Surgeon's Subjugation Amulet. Once per long rest when scoring a critical hit on a humanoid, we can paralyse them for 2 turns. And to tie it all up, the Sword of Chaos. Really good damage, has extra necrotic on it anyway, which will ignore resistance, and more importantly, on a hit, regain 1 to 6 hit points. So that's the build. Let's go find some combat and check it out. Okay, you can see we're in the combat, so it's time to start doing some stuff. Now you can see we can start off immediately and we'll do Dark Force. So this will reduce all our incoming damage by half for our allies for 3 turns. But what it means is we can come in here and we can start attacking. And you'll see just how much damage we can pump out with this. Now obviously there are other abilities we can do, but you can see the baseline damage there. Okay, it's back to our turn, so let's start pumping out some serious damage here. We'll scoot around here and we'll target the Barbarian. Now, you'll see we still have a bunch of stuff we can do. So if we were to do the Stalwart Dark Side, this adds to our hits and our damage as a bonus action, and this will cost 1 per turn. As you can see, our number did reduce. And now we can do things like Edge of Darkness, deals additional necrotic damage, and this is the big heavy hitter. So if we make sure to actually target the right one, and there you go, you can see just how much we pump out. And that actually counts as just a normal attack, meaning you can do a Siphon Strike, you can do a Blood Spiller afterwards. Just like that, and you'll see the huge crit we did. And if we just go to the combat log, you will see with that crit we did almost 100 damage combined between all our effects, which is pretty decent. And then we can end our Dark Side if we want to, which we obviously don't. Now you see we healed up for 6 there, and once again we can start throwing out some damage. So bonus action wise, we could do the Blackest Night, and we can give one of our allies some temporary hit points. So let's do Jaheira. And there you go. Now you see that used 3 of our Black Bloods, which is fine. And we can once again follow up with another Edge of Darkness, dealing lots of damage. And then we could follow up with a Hard Slash, for example, or a Siphon Strike. And you'll see we siphoned one of the things. Unfortunately I did save, but you see a big miss on the sneak attack there. And we regained double the amount of hit points thanks to the ring. Now, again, this build is all about how you can use your bonus actions to benefit your allies. Things such as Abyssal Drain. Now you see the range isn't amazing, but you can use it for some good instances. Or, like I showed before, you can just swing and continue your healing abilities. So again, if we close this gap and then target this enemy, there you go. Now bear in mind you do only get 2 attacks per turn, but you could do a low blow, for example, and try and knock an enemy prone. Just like that. And again, another big miss from the bow attack, and it's time for us to start finishing this fight. So we can do a Siphon Strike on the enemy here to reduce them and try and get some siphons back, just like that. And then what we can also do is, when I can find it, we can Shadow Stride. So we can do this as our bonus action, and we can close the gap to up here. And there you go, and now we're in prime location to take out these enemies. Now we could do a Hard Slash, we can do an Edge of Darkness, this will use a Black Blood, the Hard Slash won't. So we do this, you'll see they've now got Gaping Wounds, so they're now going to take Bleeding for 2 turns. So you've got lots of things that do use your Black Blood, that don't as well, so you've got lots of options. And once again, just rinse and repeat. So we don't really need to use any of our bonus actions, so we can come back in here, we could do a Siphon Strike to try and get some more stuff back. Unfortunately we only got 1, so we balance out. But then we can close the distance here. And we have the option, we have the Hard Slash, we could do an Edge of Darkness. So we'll start with the Edge of Darkness. And you'll see pretty decent damage. And then as a bonus action, I probably would just follow up with a Pommel Strike to just try and daze them. Just like that. And again, we just get the ability, we can run in, we can do regular attacks if we want to, we could try and siphon some more Black Blood from them. You'll see we didn't, unfortunately. And then we could do Dark Force, we could do Blackest Night again, we could Shadow Strike, lots of decent things here. But essentially you just want to hit the enemies as hard as you can, try and save some of those Black Bloods if you need to. Now please bear in mind, if we were, you can see we've got 1, if we were to short rest by coming here,
time to get going,
we gain them all back. So just bear that in mind. However, the Shadow Stride, you will see if we cast it now, our other use has gone. So these do not replenish. So just bear that in mind. Same with Blood Spiller, the big damage dealer, you have to long rest for this. But your Bad Bloods, you can replenish as much as you need to, so you can use them every combat. So I really hope you have enjoyed this, God, what subclass is this? What a great exit. The Stalwart Soul Dark Knight mod build. If you have, let me know in the comments below and let me know what you change. Other new abilities, weapons, armor, all that fun stuff. If you're not already, please subscribe to the channel. I've got more guides to Baldur's Gate, to Path of Exile, to Oblivion Remastered, to Dragon Age, all the great RPGs you could ever need. If you want to support the channel, you can by becoming a member today by pressing the join button below. Helps me tremendously. And hopefully, I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.